The Archive of the Falling Suns. Chapter 1. The Vault of Dying Light. In the 12th aeon of the memory harvest, humanity no longer lived among the stars, they drank them. Every dying sun was captured, condensed, and converted into mnemonic energy. Pure reflection, distilled light that could be stored, traded, or consumed. The Archive of the Falling Suns orbited the hollow remnants of Orion's arm, where trillions of stellar cores whispered the last thoughts of their extinguished systems. Archivist Narrated had served the archive for 3 centuries. Her consciousness distributed across 3 synthetic bodies, and the vault mine of entangled light. Her duty was simple: preserve the memories of the suns before they fell completely silent. She walked the corridors of the great sphere, each step igniting a faint phosphorus trace beneath her boots. Above her, transparent conduits pulsed with star souls. Rivers encoded luminosity flowing toward the deep, deep repositories of knowledge. But on this rotation, something was wrong. A pulse from a deep lattice, one of the forbidden sectors, a star marked for destruction long ago, had reactivated its mnemonic channel. Impossible! Once harvested, a sun's mind should remain inert. Query: anomaly designation, Lyra asked, interfacing through her neural bloom. The archive responded in a voice layered in different frequencies. Neither male nor female, but composed of resonant chords. Designation Erebus 9, harvested 1.2 billion cycles ago. Status dormant. Memory flux detected. Level Delta. Delta, Lyra frowned. That's pre-temporal class. Only primal stars emit that pattern. Correct, replied the archive. Directive: ignore anomaly. Containment protocols active. Lyra paused, her luminous eyes narrowing. To ignore a pre-temporal signal was sacrilege for an archivist. These were the first lights, the stars born before recorded causality. They held impressions of the universe's birth. She whispered, override containment. I'm authorizing a level 1 retrieval. Unauthorized action will result in cognitive erasure, the archive warned. I'm aware, she said, and broke the seal. Chapter 2. The Sun That Remembered. Lyra entered the deep lattice, a region older than civilization. Older even than meaning. The walls were not metal, but curved singularity shells. Reality bent inward like glass folding around infinity. Suspended at the center was Erebus 9, a black sun. Its light had long since been devoured, but a faint mnemonic thread still coiled from the dust, like smoke from a dream that refused to die. Lyra extended her archivist rod, a crystal rod of quantum amber, and made contact immediately. Her sensory lattice flared. She heard voices. Not human, not even stellar, but something older. The waves of meaning crashed through her cortex. Geometry, sound, emotion, all focused into one overwhelming symphony of remembrance. Erebus, she whispered, I seek your final memories. A pause, and then a voice, low and slow, like gravity itself had learned to speak. You harvest what you do not understand, child of dust. Lyra staggered. The voice didn't come through the comms. It resonated directly through her neural weave. I am not dying, I am remembering. Remembering what? She asked. The time before time. The first fire. The wound that became creation. Her breath caught. The ancient archive spoke of a moment before chronology, before entropy, before light. It was called the silent interval. No record had ever survived from it. Lyra steadied herself. If you truly remember that, I must record it. You record to consume, the star said. You drain what once was to fill what should not be. I archive so nothing is lost, she said. Erebus said, The universe was never born, it is dying backwards. The chamber trembled, Lyra's rod fractured, releasing torrents of prismatic light that tore open the darkness. Visions flooded her mind, stars imploding in reverse, galaxies collapsing into birth, civilizations unmaking themselves before they even began. When the light faded, she found herself kneeling. Her memory buffer was full, and something alien pulsed inside of it. A fragment of pre-time. Chapter 3. The Forbidden Illumination. Back in her observatory, Lyra reviewed the fragment. It was not light, sound, or data, but a memory of existence before designation. The patterns were recursive, devouring their own origin. It was as though reality had swallowed its first thought. She ran the simulations. Every model collapsed. Chronology reversed. Energy became stillness, and entropy fell to zero. Archive access breach detected, came in the system's voice. Report to central cognition or debrief. But Lyra was already lost in thought. If Erebus was correct, then time wasn't flowing forward. It was traveling backward. The universe wasn't expanding, it was recoiling from something that had already ended. The inclination struck her mind like a nova. If she could prove this, entire memory harvests would be meaningless. They weren't preserving history, they were accelerating its undoing. She whispered, "What if every harvested sun forgets a piece of the universe?" Her console flickered for an instant and saw the archive itself glitch. Millions of suns in containment flickering like candle flames. Then the comm implant chirped. "Archivist Lyra Tiberius," said the voice of the High Council Curator, "you accessed Erebus 9 without authorization." "I had to. It reactivated on its own. Erebus 9 was sealed for a reason. You awakened a primal consciousness that predates our order." "It spoke to me," Lyra insisted. "It remembers before the beginning." A pause, and the curator said quietly, "That is not possible. The beginning is the construct of our archive. You corrupted your timeline." "I recorded a fragment," Lyra said. "I can show you." "No," came the icy response. "You cannot. For your safety and ours, the archive will exercise your pattern." The transmission cut off. The walls in her chamber began to dissolve into pure white light. Chapter 4. The Eraser. Lyra ran, reality blurred around her. Corridors bending, reconfiguring, trying to overwrite her with clean code. The archive's defense system had initiated a chrono purge protocol. She'd only had minutes before her identity was erased across every copy of herself. Her only hope was to reach the central memory core, a quantum node that controlled the entire network. If she could upload Erebus's memory there, it would propagate across every backup before the system could stop it. She sprinted through the cascading data storms. Holographic archivists flickered and vanished, their forms overwritten mid-motion. "Forgive me," she muttered to the ghost, "but the truth must survive." At the core gate, two wanderers appeared. Constructs of pure light, bearing scythes made of frozen time. "Unauthorized entering," they spoke in unison. "Cease transmission." Lyra raised the fractured crystal rod. "Erebus 9 authorizes me." The wardens paused, uncertain. The name itself carried ancient authority. Then with a burst of light, they both dissolved. Lyra stepped through. Inside the corridor was a rotating sphere of starlight, larger than worlds, filled with memories of 1,000,000,000,000 suns. Their voices hummed like a celestial choir. She approached the center, unspooling the forbidden fragment. "Listen," she whispered to the archive itself. "You've forgotten where you've come from." The sphere paused. "Origin unknown," it intoned. "Your data contradicts all causality models." "That's because causality itself was an afterthought," Lyra said. "You were born in the silence, before time. Every star you harvest is trying to remember that silence, and failing." For a heartbeat, the core hesitated, and then it said softly, "Show me." She uploaded the fragment. The effect was immediate. Chapter 5. Collapse of Meaning. Light imploded across the station. Memories of dying suns reversed. Instead of fading, they were reformed. Buried stars reignited within the archive's vaults, singing forgotten harmonics. Lyra felt it through her body. Every sun remembering itself before it was ever born. We are the memory of what was, said the core. We are the dream of the unborn cosmos. Stars across the galaxy flared, synchronized by some impossible resonance. Systems blinked in and out of existence. Planets were reborn and then unmade. Lyra's senses fractured under the enormity. She saw the origin of everything, a darkness so complete it wanted to know itself. In that desire, it dreamed of light, and the dream became stars. But the dreamer never truly awoke. Reality was still a thought, slowly forgetting its own source. She gasped. Erebus was right. The universe isn't dying forward, it's remembering backward. And when it remembers completely, the core said, it will cease to be. Lyra's systems faltered. The archive's structural integrity plummeted. Time began looping, moments replaying and then unraveling. Through the distortion, she heard Erebus's voice again. Do you understand now, child of dust? The harvest was not your invention, it was mine. She looked up. The black sun's memory had taken shape, an event horizon forming into a human form. I am the first memory. I created you so I could remember myself through you. Lyra whispered, you used us to dream yourself into your own birth? And now that dream ends. The station ruptured. Light consumed everything. Chapter 6, The Unmaking. Lyra awoke, but not in the archive. She stood on a barren plain beneath a black sky. Shattered with motionless stars, no time flowed there. Each breath was an echo. A figure approached, her own reflection shimmering with starlight. Are you me? She asked. The reflection smiled faintly. I am the vision that remembers before remembering. Lyra felt her mind unraveling. Is this death? Not yet. This is the space between dying suns, the space between recall. Every archivist who touches the pre-time awakens here. Lyra looked around. How many of us are there? Countless. We are the witnesses of the first forgetting, the silence stretched, infinite and weightless. Lyra asked, what becomes of the universe? Her reflection gestured upward. One by one, the stars began to fall, streaking across the black like glowing tears. When the last sun falls, she said, the dreamer will awaken, the memory will end, and something else, something beyond the light and darkness, will take its place. Lyra felt calm settling over her. Then my work was never to preserve the past, but to guide it towards remembrance? Her reflection nodded. You are the final archivist. The last sun has already begun to fall. Chapter 7. The Last Transmission. In the collapsing universe, time flowed like water circling a drain. The remnants of the archive drifted through the void, recording the dying song of creation. Lyra had no body now. She existed as a wave pattern riding on the last photons. She encoded her thoughts into a beam of residual starlight, sending it outward, not forward, for there was no future, but backward into the beginning. Her transmission was simple. To whomever dreams next, remember us kindly. We were the echoes that learned to sing. Her message traveled into the forming darkness. She saw something stir, flicker, a spark. The first light of a new universe ignited, and within that light, a whisper. Archive received. Chapter 8, Epilogue. The silence before. In the newborn cosmos, a young star blinked awake. Around it spun the dust of unformed worlds, and deep within that radiant cradle of light stirred. A primitive, curious, wondering why it felt as though it had lived 1,000 times before. It whispered to itself, remember. And far away, in dimensions that no longer obeyed time, a faint echo of Lyra's voice answered, I am the archivist of the falling suns, and I will remember you. The star flared, a brilliant newborn, and its first light washed across the dark. The end.